Welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I am Bonnie Rose. It's great to have you all here this morning. And welcome also to our folks that are viewing the service online. Welcome to our Center of Love, where we aspire to be love, share love, and serve love. I'm going to start with a few brief announcements. All of the information is on our website, www.venturacsl.org. We have many opportunities to serve if you're interested in expanding spiritually in that way. There are some forms at the desk in the social hall over there, and you can fill them out and give them to Bernie or Jennifer, and one of us will get you squared away. We have a wonderful choir, Hearts and Harmony Choir. They rehearse on Sundays from 11:30 to 12:30, and everyone is welcome. We are collecting and partnering with some local organizations in an attempt to help fire survivors. This is our last day for bringing in items, but you can see that we have a robust amount here and more that is unseen. So let's just give everybody who donated a nice round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for your generosity, and we know that every donation goes to the person who needs it the most, and every donation makes a difference. I also wanted to let you know that we made a financial donation to a CSL church that was in the fire area where several of the members lost their homes, so we gave money to that, and we also gave money to an organization that is helping animals that have survived the fires. We have a science and spirituality group that meets on the third Wednesday of every month. February 19th is the meeting. The next meeting, and the book is You Are the Placebo. There it is, by Joe Dispenza. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I'm going to call forth Bill Hadris, and he will lead us in our youth message.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Want to come on down? Any children? Join me. Give me a hand today. I'm going to hand you the microphone, so you better get close. So, as Reverend Bonnie said, I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family. Question today, what are problems for? Letting go. Letting go, right? So Ernest Holmes said, you can find peace by letting go of problems. Martin Luther King said, the best way to solve any problem is to remove its cause. So, can you think of a problem you had to deal with? Not really? I guess maybe I won't be handing you the microphone then. You have one?
I have so many problems and solutions, I don't really know.
Well, if you can think of one, how did it feel when you solved that problem?
Awesome.
Awesome. It was like we rehearsed. Well done. So, sometimes problems can be scary, but don't run from them. Problems challenge us, shape us, push us, and help us discover just how strong and brave we are capable and how capable we really are. So, I invite you to tackle problems. Maybe not like this. Even though we don't always want them, problems have a way of bringing unexpected gifts. So, especially when we think love when solving those problems. Well, Albert Einstein said, love is the answer. Of course, I think John Lennon and many others did as well. But so with that, I invite you all to repeat after me. Giving, I know that life shall give back to me. And so it is.
Of God, I hold you in my heart. Thank you. Goodbye. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Thank you, everyone. And now we'll hear from Reverend Susan Burrell, who will lead us in prayer.
I have a little moment of humor.
Okay.
Talking about problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it. It's fine. I'm fine.
Everything's
is
fine.
Wow, Susan. Good timing.
My spouse got this for me. He thought it reminded him of me.
Yeah, that's nice.
Isn't it nice to know somebody knows you so well?
Yeah, that's great.
So,
Good one.
and the reason why I bring this up as the practitioners stand to join me in this prayer is because, as Bill was talking about, we have to change the root of the problem. And if there is anyone in the room that's feeling a little scaredy-catty, now's the time to just let it go. So taking a very deep breath within, allow all the month of January and anything that was occurring in your life or others that you care about to simply just dissolve, melt away as we enter this new month, a month of love, a month of giving, a month of rejoicing. And so breathing in that love that circulates all the time in spite of any seeming problems. Just know that you are loved by the I am presence, the one. And as I breathe in that love for myself, I breathe it in for each and every human being on the planet. And as I exhale that love, I know it surrounds and fills every need, dissolving any problems, dissolving any scaredy cats, and allowing the goodness of source energy to fill those empty spaces. So knowing there is only one, I celebrate that. I accept it as truth, and I stand in my commitment to serve love. And so with gratitude and humility, I release this word into that law of love. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it. So let's continue to breathe into that spaciousness, that awareness of spaciousness, the awareness of love that fills all of us, the being, the essence of love that is the fabric and the substance and the spirit of this universe. Let us allow that to be who we are as we remember. And as we remember for ourselves, we remember for all beings everywhere that the I am presence which goes by many names, love, spirit, grace, wholeness, higher power. The I am is who I am. And when I say I mean the universal I, the I that is in all of us. The place within us that rests and remembers as the one, in the one. And so let us sing together, not only for ourselves, but on behalf of all beings everywhere, on behalf of the cosmos. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am love. I am remembering who I am. I am wholeness. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am peace. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am joy. I am remembering. I am abiding in the wonders of that life force that makes its presence known at all times. Let us rest in it and receive it and allow it to be as we breathe in deeply. And then exhale, gently opening our eyes as love, in service to what is, as it is, and so it is. Namaste.
Well, I'm offering a very fond good morning to all of you here in Ventura. It's always so wonderful to be with you. This is certainly one of my spiritual homes. And with that, I'm specifically referencing the building and all of you. But as I'm sure all of you know, but sometimes we tend to forget. We take and create home wherever we are. Wherever we are. But the building, the edifice, kind of ensconces that for us. But remember, that place of home is right within you. It always is. And it is that beautiful, beautiful energy that we call love. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall grass bend into leaning. And suddenly the raindrops that fall, they have some meaning, sprinkling the scene, they make it all clean. And maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It sure would be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time be my friend, and let me start again. And suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know, I know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, and yet I've watched it growing. And oh, if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we try and stay, or should we run away, or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love. Oh, so it's real. I know it's real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to look inside your heart and find home.
Thank you, Dion and Chris. So wonderful. Thanks so much. All right, y'all. So this morning we're taking a final glance, we may come back to it someday, at this book by Edwin Gaines called The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And the name of this talk is, Do You Have a Problem? Do you? Raise your pinky if you have a problem. Okay. Well, this morning also we have a special guest. I'm delighted to have a partner in service this morning, someone who once had a big problem, a huge problem. And I'm talking about Peter Waring. I'll call you up in a minute, honey. Just sit there for 1 second. I'll call you up, okay? Because I want to say all kinds of nice stuff about you, okay? So Peter has been coming to this church for a while now, but prior to this, he was a practitioner for 8 years at Creative Living Fellowship in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, Peter, at our center, serves as the co-leader of our Science and Spirituality discussion group. This month, they are meeting on the third Wednesday, discussing You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. Peter is married to David Fatika, who is also a member of our center, who sadly could not be here today. He's in Phoenix, little stinker. But anyway, it'll be recorded. Sorry I called you a stinker, David. Anyway, all this aside, I'm so looking forward to hearing Peter's story. So Peter, why don't you come on up here? We'll give you some love. Let me grab this from you. Oh, and let me get your picture up there, too.
Good morning.
Look, isn't he handsome? Look.
You're on?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. If you remember back to 2009 and 2010, we were in the midst of the Great Recession. That was the worst economic crisis since the Depression. Tens of millions of people were losing their jobs, and millions were losing their homes. In January of 2010, I was attending a 6-week class on the my center based on the 4 spiritual laws of prosperity, exactly the same one as here. During this class, we worked on setting goals, and while I don't remember all the goals, I do remember wanting to get my teeth fixed. I didn't have insurance with my current job at the time. I was a general manager of a hotel in Phoenix, and at the end of January, the hotel went into receivership, and I lost my job. It seemed my prosperity was challenged. I was not a permanent resident of the United States at the time, and my work visa was tied to the company I was working for. I had 60 days to leave the country. I was afraid because people were still losing their jobs. So I decided to double down on the work, and I made an appointment with a practitioner who was teaching the class for a session. I didn't have the money to pay her at the time, but since I was in her class, she offered to work with me at no charge. We worked to become clear of what I wanted. I wanted to stay in Phoenix. I wanted to continue my science of mind studies. They were already showing results in my life. I wanted a job that would respect my contribution and that had a positive atmosphere. I wanted a different role from being a hotel manager that allowed me evenings and weekends off so that I could have a normal life. I knew what position that would be, and so we did an affirmative prayer for all those wishes. In the following days, I applied for 2 positions. The first one didn't respond. When I was reading the job description for the second offering, I felt a tingling sensation throughout my body and said, this is the one. A week after our session, I got a call for an interview. Everything went well. In fact, when answering one of the questions, my intuition nudged me to expand and say something like, when I review data in the markets, I will get this feeling that points me towards the right answer. It was a risk because it was a job doing analytics, and in that world, it's all about being objective and rational. It turned out that the director was metaphysical, and she understood. So I didn't know what at the time, but yeah, I didn't know that at the time. So I was contacted about a week later with an offer, and I disclosed that I would need a letter for a work visa. There was a pause. And she responded with, We'll see what I can do. So I was back in fear, and I made an appointment with an immigration lawyer for that week, even though I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. My credit cards were being maxed out. I sat down to do another affirmative prayer on getting a visa. I was literally in step 5 of the prayer, which is Thanksgiving. I saw that when I was doing that, the phone rang, and I saw that it was coming from the company that was hiring me, so I answered it. And the director told me that they would take care of getting me the visa. Mm-hmm. After hanging up, I have to admit that I cried with gratitude. Mm-hmm. I was now re-employed within 4 weeks, working for a great company with really good benefits, only 40 hours a week, with evenings and weekends off for myself. I became a true believer in the science of mind teaching. I did pay the practitioner 10% of my first paycheck, and by the end of 2010, I had caught up with all of my dental work. As Ernest Holmes said, this is about doing the work. It is not enough to read and understand the philosophy.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. It's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. So I'm going to repeat that last sentence that David said from Ernest Holmes. Peter. I'm obsessed with David. Sorry, because he's not here. David is his husband. Okay. Peter, thank you. Thank you. Wait, what's his name? Everybody. Peter. Okay. Thank you, Peter. Okay. So from Ernest Holmes, it's not enough to read and understand the philosophy. It's not enough to read and understand the philosophy. We must do the work. And that's why we have a life. That's why we have a life, is to do the work. Peter did the work. And so today, we're going to go ahead and look at some of the principles that I think apply to Peter's situation and what he did, so that we can all learn from Peter's experience, from his problem. The first thing I think Peter did that was so wise is that he identified that he had a problem. We identify that there is a problem. One of the many things, well, should I say many things? One of the things that sometimes irks me about this teaching or the way we apply it is that sometimes people will be in just so much distress and they'll be there like with this frozen smile saying, it's all good, it's all good. It is all good. But we can only get to the place of knowing the true all goodness by acknowledging when it doesn't feel like it's all good. Peter did that. In the midst of a recession, he lost a job. That didn't feel good. It seemed like there were no jobs available. I'm sure that didn't feel good. Peter was in the United States on a work visa, and he would have to leave in 60 days if he didn't get a job. I'm sure that didn't feel good. If we took a journey into Peter's head at that time, we might imagine that he was caught in predicting dire consequences. Worst case scenarios. He was perhaps preparing for the worst that could happen. He was renting a U-Haul in his mind and planning to move away. And I know that that's where I go sometimes. I know that that's where I go, and perhaps some of you go there too, when something is distressing you, or you're afraid of something, or something terrible has happened, something that doesn't feel good. Don't we often go to the place where we prepare worst case scenarios and dire consequences? We're often tempted to tell and retell the story of what we think is a problem. Esther Hicks has a good word for this, the telling and the retelling. She calls it regurgitation. I have this overwhelming urge to mime regurgitation. Okay, done. All right. We regurgitate threats. We regurgitate the perception of threats. And then we cleverly and very creatively embellish upon those threats with what could go wrong. Then we accept our made-up perceptions and embellishments as inevitable, as truth. And then, because we believe it, we start to see evidence of this perceived reality. We see what we believe, and then we say, see, I was right. Now, that's just the way our brains work. That's the way our brains work, and we'll get more into that later on this month. But we are programmed to recognize threats and respond to them. And what we do is we get ourselves all whipped up with what could go wrong, we regurgitate, and then we see evidence of what we think could go wrong. Here's a spiritual truth, though, a spiritual truth about problems. Every problem is a solution in disguise. There's a metaphysical author, her name is Lillian DeWaters. She's not very well known, but she wrote, whenever there is a problem, we may rest assured that there is a solution. This solution existed before the problem, for a problem must be based on or built around something. The answer to your problem, the answer to our problem, exists in this moment. If the problem has been formed, the answer came before it. You can take a closer look at what that means. Take a look at this math problem. 1,457 times 12,832. Now, you may not know the answer right now, unless you've got a calculator, unless you're a math whiz, but the answer to this problem exists. It has existed forever. The answer is real. It's here now. And the solution existed before we could grab our phones or our calculators and figure out what it was. The solution is this, and it was there all along. The problem itself was born from the solution to reveal the solution that is for you. Our problems are not against us. They are for us. So for all of us here today, if you have a problem, if we have a problem, we may be tempted to run from it. But an alternative might be to just observe it, to breathe, to activate the relaxation nervous system, to breathe and observe it without empowering it, without telling the story, without regurgitating and embellishing. If we see ourselves doing that, we can just let go, we can breathe, and we can trust. We can shift our consciousness to know the truth about problems. The problem exists to reveal an undeniable solution. To quote our friend, Dr. Michael Beckwith, paraphrase him, every problem is a question. Every question is an answer. Every answer is an action. Every action is a way of life waiting to be born. Can you pause for a moment and see if you're holding on to something, a perception of a problem, whether it's personal, whether it's global, whether it's for somebody else, whether it's about you, whether it's inner, whether it's outer, and just see if you're holding on to a perception of problem. And pause for a minute to consider that the solution already exists. In fact, the problem was born out of that solution. Every problem is for us. Every problem is a question. Every question is an answer. Every answer is an action. Every action is a way of life waiting to be born. So how do we call forth that greater life that wants to be born? One amazing way is to ask for spiritual support, whether it's here with a friend in your spiritual community, or whether it's going to see a practitioner. That's what Peter did. He went and saw a practitioner. And I'm willing to bet, because this is what practitioners do, I'm willing to bet that Peter's practitioner encouraged him to re-identify with a higher reality, and that is to identify with spiritual truth. Spiritual truth. Identify with spiritual truth. There's a story about Nasruddin, the wise fool from the Sufi Muslim world. A wise fool walked into a bank. He had a robust saving account, and he asked the teller to withdraw some funds. The teller said, "Sir, please, we need to see some identification first. Can you please identify yourself?" At which point, Nasruddin reached into his cloak, pulled out a mirror, and took a long look. And he said, "Yes, yep, that's me, all right." Every practitioner of this teaching will invite you to identify with the truth about you and the truth about reality. Every practitioner in this teaching Even those who don't have a license, every practitioner, every minister will say that we get back to that bottom line about the truth about who we are and the truth about reality. And that truth is, God is all there is, and you are one with God. The longer version of that from Ernest Holmes is, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, meaning inclusive of everything. That life is your life, or my life, now. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Despite all appearances, the one life, that is God, is our life right now. Right here and right now, there is a relative reality that for many of us seems frightening. It is tempting to get caught in it. The biggest struggle for me today, these days, is fear of uncertainty, not knowing how things will turn out. And I want to control everything. And I'm desperately seeking predictability. I want it so badly. I want to know how things are going to turn out. And it feels like a problem that I don't have the answers at this time. However, on a good day, through prayer and meditation and small acts of kindness, I can sometimes just touch the hem of the garment of the infinite absolute, the consciousness. This means that I can wrap myself in or identify with that greater reality. God is all there is, and you are one with God, and the situation that you are facing is an aspect of God as well. That problems exist for us. They are not against us. And the solution is there, embedded in the problem. The solution exists. And the problem exists simply because the solution is already there. On a clear day, and a day of mental clarity, I can see forever. And I can see that, yes, the perception that I'm holding of impermanence, thinking that everything's going to change, and I don't like that. Everything that I hold about permanence, it feels like it causes me to struggle. But I see something different, too. I can also see that I can only experience impermanence because it exists in a greater contrasting reality of permanence. There is something whole, perfect, and complete, continuous, infinite, a timeless, formless essence from which the appearance of all impermanent conditions arise. And then I breathe and identify with that timeless, formless essence, the perfection, the inclusion of spirit. And I move, as it says in a Hindu peace prayer, I move from the unreal, the perception of problem, to the real, knowing that it's all God. And then if I struggle with uncertainty, I see that my uncertainty feels like it causes me to fear. But then when I don't know how things are going to turn out, if I'm struggling, if I'm stressing, if I'm fretting about worst case scenarios, if I'm regurgitating on life, then I can wake myself up. I can wake myself up to realize that uncertainty can only be experienced in contrast to something else, something real, something absolute, the absolute certainty of God's presence and God's grace in all things. And so then I can adjust my certainty. I can identify with and align with the certainty of grace. The grace that brought us here, the grace and the goodness that gave us the problems so that we could rest and remember. From this place, I can learn to sort of, I'm getting ready to lie in church here, okay? I was going to say I can get ready to love my problems. I must have been loving my problem when I wrote this, but anyway, on a good day, I can learn to love my problems, or I can learn to love struggle. I can learn to love impermanence or uncertainty because it's not that I love them in their relative sense. I can learn to love them because in the absolute sense, these conditions only exist to reveal a deeper truth of the allness in all, the allness of the power and the presence of spirit in everything. It's like the math problem I was talking about, where I put up that tricky math problem. The solution exists before the problem. Impermanence exists so that we can discover and abide in the changeless being that we truly are. Uncertainty exists so that we can find, realize, and practice the certainty of divine abundance and grace in all things. God is all there is, and we are one with God. And as we identify with this consciousness, for ourselves and all beings. This itself, this identification in itself, is the solution we seek. And from this solution, all solutions flow. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Problems and solutions abide in a Mobius strip. You all know that I love a Mobius strip, and this is another type of tangled hierarchy, Mobius strip type image. Some of you may know this Escher piece where it's one hand drawing the other. And it reminds me, of course, as that we don't know which one is drawing whom. Are they both drawing each other? And it reminds me of that favorite verse in the Gospel of Thomas, which I am paraphrasing today. Just as the inner becomes the outer and the outer becomes the inner, a problem becomes a solution, and a solution becomes a problem, and a solution becomes a problem not in a bad way. A solution is a problem in disguise that exists to draw us into the knowing of solution. Everything is intertwined and relating to one another. And if we can get in that place of absolute reality, we stop deciding which is solution, which is problem, which is inner, which is outer, which is the hand drawing the hand, and we rise above and we become the artist that created that picture. We are the artist that created the Mobius strip itself. We are that which is above all appearances of opposites. Then we're really onto something. Then we're living from the finished realm of heaven on earth within us. And everything is amazing in that perspective. We see that it's all love. We see that it's all God. We see that it is all here for us. We see that it is here to raise us up in grace so that we may be a light and a blessing unto the world. And to make it simpler in terms of all this Mobius strip business that I'm not sure everybody relates to, just think of it this way. If we have a problem, just know that it's a sign. It's a sign that a bigger picture of love and light is seeking to emerge through you. And know that we are experiencing what we experience so that we can be that emergence of love and light. We identify with that. We identify with that emergence of love and light that is coming through anything that we are facing. We identify with that, and then we make it so through our practice of principle. How do we do that? Well, let's turn to the wisdom of the book of Peter again. Peter acted to prove these principles. He took action. Peter got clear about what he wanted. He applied for jobs. He followed his intuition. He took a risk and he spoke about metaphysics to a hiring manager. Who does that? Peter does that. He eased his regurgitory small self out of the way, and Peter stopped telling God what was possible and allowed God to tell Peter what was possible. Peter Piper picked a peck of perfect possibilities. And so it is. You're welcome. A solution for Peter was waiting in the wings, waiting to emerge center stage, and Peter allowed it. Through his active allowing, he received something even better than his expectations, and now, what's even better than Peter receiving that is that he is rippling his wisdom and his grace from this experience to all of us so that we may go forth and do this as well. We may also pick a peck of perfect possibilities. It just takes our continual reminder to align with the truth, to not allow the world of effects to hypnotize us, to not allow the world of conditions to draw us into this place where we are running our sympathetic nervous system and just looking for threats and looking for evidence how everything is wrong. It's allowing ourselves to relax and rest in that place that knows that all is well, that perfect God, perfect being, perfect well-being abides in all of us and in everything. It takes work. It takes practice. It takes community. But these things we shall do and more. Let's revisit Dr. Michael Beckwith's quote again. Every problem is a question. Every question is an answer. Every answer is an action. Every action is a way of life waiting to be born. Let us know that for ourselves and all beings now, and let us pray. And so we turn within into this grace of spirit that brought us here together as a beautiful community. Opened our hearts to be that place where love shows up. And that drew us here this morning by divine appointment to know the truth about life, about existence, about the world, about all of us. Let us rest in our hearts in this knowing of that there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is our life right here and right now. Together we unify with that knowing of the perfection of being, that God is in the house and God is in the heart, and that all is well. We relax and know and trust the process unfolding, the process of love and light revealing itself through all things. And so today I know that hope has been born, that transformation is upon us, that we are willing to do the work to stay grounded, that we are willing to do the work to keep peaceful, that we are willing to love even when love is difficult, that we are willing to open up to recognize problems as something new, some new solution seeking to emerge, to know that the solution existed before the problem, and that the solution exists, again, only to awaken us to a greater good. Let us know that for ourselves. Let us know that for all beings. Let us know it for the world, for the cosmos, for our country, for all things. All things, for all things are God. I am so grateful for the transformation that is taking place here in each and every one of us. So grateful for the awakening of love and light that seeks expression in the details and the duties of our lives. So grateful for our willingness to do the work. So grateful for the transformation and the grace and the goodness as we come more and more into vibrational alignment with the truth of existence. How wonderful it is to know that. How wonderful it is to have this teaching. How wonderful it is to have one another in this sacred space. And so I bless this sacred center. I bless the teaching. I bless all paths to God, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, all blessings everywhere. And with a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, love. And I release and let go these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste. Hi.
Hi. What a beautiful thread of goodness this morning. We started out with Dion and knowing where home is. And then Peter, thank you. Because I thought I was the only one with problems.
Yeah.
It feels so good to know that someone else has them. But that's what a community does, is that we know the truth for each other when we can't see that ourselves. It made me think of being at the eye doctor, you know, when they do that A/B lens and they give you that one they know you can't see anything through.
Right.
That's the world. But your spiritual community is the A one where you have clarity. And they have clarity for you when you can't have clarity. So thank you for this beautiful morning, Bonnie. And I'm in awe of the tongue twister.
Oh, Peter Piper picked up.
I bow to you.
Thank you.
So this morning, in that joyous community that we've created this morning, I invite you to say the offering prayer with me. We trust in spirit. Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are. We offer these gifts. They are an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion. Our gifts bless many and return to us multiplied in miraculous ways so that we may give again. And so it is.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things I do love so much about communing spiritually is that it levels the playing field, doesn't it? You know, I mean, we wake up some mornings and think, is it just me saddled with the problem? And apparently not. Apparently not. In that spirit, I'd like to sing something today that I've actually only sung one time before, and that was here. That was here. I guess it was a couple of years ago. And it was actually written by James Weldon Johnson as a prayer of thanksgiving. It was something he intended
to celebrate the birthday of Abraham Lincoln. And it was a prayer of thanksgiving, ultimately, to God, as well as a prayer for faithfulness and freedom, with a lot of imagery that evokes the biblical exodus from slavery to freedom. And how often do we feel so enslaved by the problem? By the problem. You know, yeah, misery, we've heard many times before, misery loves company, but so does joy. So does love. So does triumph. So does empowerment. And what I'd like to do, for any of you that are able this morning to stand, I would like for you to stand. If you know this song, please, no. That's okay. You're standing in solidarity, personal solidarity and interpersonal solidarity. I love it. Take this stand for your faithfulness and for your hope, for your commitment to transcendence and to always be free. Always be free. And as I was going to say, if you know the song, it's okay. Please feel free to join in. I would love that. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, and sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, oh, we pray. And lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee, shadowed beneath Thy hand. May we forever stand true to our God, true to our name. to our God, true to our native land. Lift your voices.
Good morning, everybody. Almost afternoon. I'm Reverend Jennifer. For those of you who don't know, I'm the assistant minister and office manager here. So we're going to finish up with a few more announcements, just what you've been waiting for. Let's see. We've got, after service, we have hospitality through these doors. So we've got coffee and tea and cookies and chips and all sorts of great things. And we have a bookstore also through on this side. So if you are looking for some of those inspirational quotes that everybody shared today, you can find a book there to keep you going through the week. If you're looking for other ways to keep you going through the week, we've got a workshop, a 2-session workshop coming up called Creating Spaces That Energize and Nurture Us. This is going to be facilitated by the amazing Susan Seal. She's going to cover some elements of feng shui. She's like a feng shui. I need to ask her what the title is, but enthusiast, master, something. She's going to do the first session is going to be to kind of cover those areas. And if you have any problem areas that aren't energizing or nurturing you, ways of arranging or rearranging what you have and what to bring in. And then you'll meet again to go over how that was and more ideas. So that's 2 sessions. They are February 15th and March 1st, they will be in person, and they will be from 1 to 3. The other set of workshops that are coming up is a daily workshop that's going to be for a week from, I have it February 25th, but I think it's February 24th to February 28th. It's Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. It's called Are You a Light Leader? A Soul Growth Workshop. That is going to be facilitated by the wonderful, amazing Reverend Susan Burrell. She's fine over here in the corner. If you want to have some questions about her workshop, she'll be at the concierge desk in the hospitality, the social hall after service. You can ask her some questions. Her workshops are amazing. You get something different out of, if you've taken one, you know. And if you've taken 2, you know that you need to take 3. So, so sign up with Reverend Susan. It's not next month because it's February already. On February 16th, we have our annual meeting. So everybody come and then hang out. After social hour, we'll go over what 2024 was for us and what our plans for 2025 are. Anything else? Oh, and if you would like to pray with a practitioner, like Pete was, his amazing example is probably a little more in depth than what you're going to get in a 1-minute miracle. But 1-minute miracles are a great way to connect and hear that 5-step prayer and to feel that truth of what is in everything as everything. So meet with some practitioners. They will be down here. I'm going to touch on the abundance. Thank you, everybody, for bringing things for the fire victims. We have an abundance of things here. There's a lot of stuff. You can't see it behind the rail here. We're going to be sorting. So after service, we're going to get some boxes. Everything was pre-sorted. A lot of stuff was pre-sorted because Vicki, who does not want me to call her out, but she was here for hours this week. So let's give Vicki a big. She's hiding. She's actually dropping her pen back there. But I bowed down because she came in and she sorted everything, got everything organized. So any donations today will sort easily, and we'll get those sorted, and we'll get those loaded into Mr. Bill. He's back there. His truck. He's going to be taking the things to the donation places. So if you want to help with that, awesome. Many hands make light work, right, or something. Somebody will tell me later, I'm sure. So with that, let's close out the day, this Sunday service, with our affirmation. So everybody, let's read this together. Remembering my abundance, I decide to be love, share love, serve love. Thank you for my life, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you, everybody.